Hello students, today we are going to discuss about few important points related to the refraction of light through spherical surfaces and lens. Let us start. Few important points. Number one, every part of the lens forms a complete image even if a portion is obstructed, but the image decreases, the image intensity decreases. So what this statement tells, I am just going to write here. So already we have discussed about a mirror. For example, take a concept of concave mirror here. Imagine half of the portion of concave mirror we have obstructed or we have blackened. That means there won't be any incident light ray on that particular effective area. But still the image forms, we had discussed about it. So the image forms in this case, but the intensity will be less. The brightness of the image will be less. I hope you remember this is the statement we have already discussed during the spherical mirrors. The lens case also the same thing takes place here. So imagine there is a lens I have here like this, right? What happens when this portion is obstructed or blackened? There won't be incident rays on it. So, but there is a part where through which the incident light rays pass through, and these are the three incident rays I had considered. So this is the part we have blackened. And you can say this is the principal axis, right? So there will be a focus here. So three light rays are incident here. So now the image will be formed here. So image will be formed at focus. I hope you are understanding. So even though half of the lens or some part of the lens is blackened, there will be an image formation at as usual. But as the number of light rays incident is less, so the brightness of the image also will be less. Now, a second important point. The minimum distance between the real object and real image by a single lens is 4f. F is the focal length. Okay. Principal focus. They are talking about a minimum distance between a real image and a real object by a single lens. We have two lenses, majorly we have discussed. Convex lens and concave lens. In the case of convex lens, the image formation may be real or virtual. In case of concave lens, there is only one kind of image will be formed, which is a virtual image. So here they are talking about a real image. That means they are giving us the information related to only lens called convex lens, right? So now let me draw the second point explanation here. So this is a convex lens and this is the principal axis. Imagine I have kept object at 2f, right? So maybe it is 2f1. So where the image will be formed? A real image will be formed at 2f2. So this is 2f and the other side also it is 2f, right? This is 2f and this is also 2f. So what is the total distance between the real image and real object here? 4f, and that is called the minimum distance between a real object and a real image. In any other case, greater than 4 times f, right? You can check because you know the image formation, each and every detail you know, each and every ray diagram also you know. You can check from there, you will get always the distance between the real object and the real image will be greater than 4 times f, but it will be exactly 4 times f when the object is kept at 2f1. Now, the third is, so the number of images is equal to number of different refractive indices. What is this? Imagine I have got a lens which is convex lens, right? In this case, generally the lens is made up of a single glass material, right? So here it is not like that. Here, this is the lens is made up of several mediums, right? So how many mediums are involved here? Let me say, this is what the principal axis. So you can see here, it's 1, 2, 3. So this is what a medium having a refractive index mu1. So it is a medium having a refractive index mu2 here, and this is the medium is having a refractive index mu3 here. You can see this is the lens is made up of 3 different mediums. So in the same way here also the similar mediums. Your mu3, your mu2 and your mu1. Okay. So this is what the lens is made up of 3 different materials. When light rays are incident on it, there will be 3 images will be formed, right? How many number of different refractive indices you have considered, the same amount of number of images will be formed. How it will be? Look at here. Imagine 3 different light rays are incident here. So what happens? So depends on the refractive index, focal length of this lens at this portion will be different, right? So that is because of the formula. I hope you remember. 1 by f is equal to mu minus 1 into, so 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. So 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2 value will remain constant whatever the medium, right? Now this focal length is depending on the refractive index. So it is different focal length will be there. So for this, so this may be the focal length. So for this light ray, this may be the focal length. For this light ray, this may be the focal length, right? So 1, 2, 3. See this? Different number of images will be formed when there are different refractive indices are considered. 3 points we had discussed. Now the 4th and 5th points also we are going to learn. Number 4. If a lens is shifted from one medium to the other, depends on the refractive index of the lens and the surrounding medium. Its focal length as well as nature may change. It is a very important application and important statement. Let's understand it. First case. There is a convex lens I have considered. Here, refractive index of the lens I am writing it as mu L, and refractive index of the surroundings I am writing it as mu S, surroundings. Here, this is a convex lens, behaves as a converging lens because refractive index of the surroundings is less. Air refractive index, imagine it is 1, right? It's not imagine, actually it is 1. So refractive index of the lens definitely it is more than 1. So when the refractive index of the lens is greater than refractive index of the surroundings, so this nature of the lens is converging. Let us see opposite. The same lens whose refractive index is mu L is kept in another medium where the surroundings refractive index is mu S. Here the interesting part is taking place. So refractive index of the lens here it's less than refractive index of the surroundings. Surrounding refractive index is more. Lens refractive index is less. In this case, this is the lens what you have being called as a converging lens will behave in a reverse way called a diverging way. So now this is a diverging lens. The actual behavior of a convex lens we have read as a converging, but in this situation the same convex lens is behaving as a diverging lens. So in which case? So in this case when the light rays incident on it, so it will diverge then when surrounding refractive index is more. Imagine you have kept the same convex lens whose refractive index is mu L in a medium where surroundings refractive index is mu s. So the condition is the refractive index of the lens is equal to the refractive index of the surroundings. In this case, when light rays are incident on it, there won't be any bending takes place because refractive index is same. So no bending takes place, right? So now in this case, your same convex lens behaves as a glass slab. On a glass slab, if you incident two parallel rays which are perpendicular to the glass slab, what happened? The angle of incidence will be 0 and angle of refraction also will be 0. So this is how the three situations will come. The same situations are valid for your actual or general diverging lens, that is concave lens. In general, when concave lens is kept in air, it will behave as a diverging nature. If you keep the same concave lens in a medium whose refractive index is more than the refractive index of the lens, it will behave as a converging lens. And in third case, the same concave lens is kept in a medium whose refractive index is exactly equal to the refractive index of the concave lens. It will be behaving as a glass slab and no refraction takes place. So that is what these three cases tells us. And the fifth important term and the statement you have to understand is this. So there is a convex lens of focal length f, refractive index mu, radius of curvature is r. Now, this is the convex lens. I can draw a principal axis here. Along the principal axis, if I cut this into two pieces, so this piece and this piece will be shown here, is shown there, you can see here. When you cut a lens according to the principal axis, two halves, both the halves will be having same focal length f like the original focal length f. But the intensity of the image formed by this part of the lens and this part of the lens will not be same as the previous case, because the area, effective area or the region on which the incident rays are falling, it's different, right? It is decreased. Then obviously it will affect the brightness of the image. And the second case here, see here. So I am just cutting the lens exactly in a way perpendicular to the principal axis. What happened? I get two pieces here. So those two pieces I had mentioned here. So now see, each piece of lens, focal length V is double than the original focal length. So its focal length is 2f, its focal length is 2f here. Only the focal length is changing. But the brightness of the image formed will never change, because the area on which the light rays incident will remain same in both cases. Refractive index also will never change. Radius of curvature also will never change in any case, right? So these are the 5 important cases and statements you must understand in the refraction of light. In some of the years in your NEET exam or previously AAPMT exams, there were questions asked out of these 5 statements also. Let us see the concept called power of a lens and combination of the lens. Power of a lens means the ability of a lens in converging or diverging the light rays which are incident on it. That may be a convex lens or a concave lens. Let's take an example of a convex lens here. Whatever the light rays incident on it, how able this lens can converge the light rays which are incident on it, so that's called its power. Same way, so there is a concave lens also I have considered here. So this is the principal axis. So if two light rays are incident on it, how able this is the lens can diverge the light rays which are incident on it. So that will gives you the power of a lens. So if it is more efficient or having ability to converge it, so that's called high converging power, and if it is having low converging or low diverging nature, so that's called low in power. That may be any lens. Now, so this is the power of a lens. This power of a lens in your lower classes you might have learned about. Power is equal to 1 by f when the focal length is given in meters. The same power is equal to 100 by f when the focal length is given in centimeters. So these are general expressions will be written in your lower classes. What exactly the reason how we are writing the power is equal to 1 by focal length? That is what we are going to learn now. So according to the science, according to the physics, right, we are proving the same. Let us take an example of the same convex lens here. It's a principal axis. Imagine there is an object is considered here which is height h. Height of the object is h. So there is a light ray which is parallel to principal axis incident on it. And definitely it will be passing through the principal focus. So this is what we do. Now actual path of the light ray is this one. When there is no lens is kept, actually the light ray should go in this way according to the rectilinear propagation of light. Now the final refracted ray is here. So there is an angle between them is called angle of deviation. The angle between the actual path of the light ray and the final refracted light ray is called angle of deviation. And if this is an angle of deviation, because these two lines, principal axis line and actual path are parallel to each other, and this is an angle delta, and definitely this angle also will be delta. And this is the optic center, and it is a focal length f here, and this is what height of the object. This is height of the object. And I can write an expression for tan delta here. So I am writing tan delta is equal to opposite side by adjacent side. So tan delta is equal to opposite side is h, adjacent side is f, right? So if your h value is 1 unit, that may be in meters or in centimeters, right? So generally we consider 1 unit is 1 meter here. So this tan delta is equal to 1 by f, and this is the value called power of a lens. This tan delta according to the physics is termed as power of a lens, which is, you can see, 1 by f. And this power of a lens, I can write it as 1 by f when the focal length is considered in meters, right? Or the same power can also be written as 100 by f when the focal length is considered in centimeters. So these are the expressions for the power. Now, and this SI unit of power can be written as diopter, so which is denoted with the symbol D. According to the nature of diverging or converging, power of a lens can be positive or negative, right? So this is according to the sign convention. According to the sign convention, so if the lens is having a converging nature, its power will be positive. If a lens is having diverging nature, its power will be negative. This is about the basic introduction and importance of the power of a lens. Now, let's concentrate on the other part called combination of the lens. So, whatever and wherever the derivations are required and important, we are going to do it. Now, in the combination of lens, so you know what exactly the combination of lens? So, we have discussed about equiconvex lens, equiconcave lens. biconvex lens and biconcave lens. And let me take equiconvex lens and an equiconcave lens. Two equiconvex lens are two equiconcave lens, right? We can combine them. We can combine them by touching each other. You can combine them by keeping at some distance. So that's called combination of the lens. And let me show you with a neat diagram here. So now the first case we are going to discuss in the combination of the lens is this one. You can see these are two different lenses. And here when they are combined, we are discussing. So this is the lens is having focal length f1 and this lens will be having focal length f2, and here focal length f1 and focal length f2 here. So the distance between the two lenses is d. Distance between the two lenses. Here there is no distance. Right? So there are two focal lengths are there where the effective focal length you can find. So effective focal length in this case will be 1 by capital F. Capital F is effective focal length. So which will be equal to 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2. Here the effective focal length will be 1 by F is equal to 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2 minus D by F1 into F2. So this is the effective focal length here and this is the effective focal length here. An interesting thing, this is the effective focal length. We have got it from the concept of power of a lens. So 1 by F means what? Net power of this combination. Power is equal to 1 by F, right? Here that F is the net focal length. So that means net power, which is P net, which is equal to 1 by F1, power of the first lens. It's P1 plus 1 by F2, power of the second lens, it's P2, right? So when your power is 1 by F, when the focal length is written in meters, right? So the same thing here. Now, here also, the net power, I can write it as, how? P1 plus P2 minus D into F1 into F2. In one of the NEET exams, and this is what the concept based question was asked on this concept. So this is about net power and the combination of the lens also. And let's see another case where we will be combining two types of the lens here. See, this is convex lens and it is concave lens. And this is F1 and it is F2 here. In this case, net focal length and the net power we will discuss. Net focal length 1 by F is equal to 1 by F1 minus 1 by F2, because F2 is negative here, right? The focal length is negative for the concave lens. So you must apply the sign convention here. So now power, net power is equal to P1 minus P2. Right? So here, why? Powers also you have to apply the sign convention. So this is what the negative power, so that's what we have discussed here. If the lens is having diverging in nature, the power will be negative in sign convention. So this is how you can solve some numericals also. Imagine if F1 is 5 centimeters, F2 is 10 centimeters in the same case. So the question is like, find the net focal length. How to find the net focal length here? 1 by F is equal to 1 by first focal length is 5 plus second focal length 1 by minus 10. Alright? You may get it out. Here we are taking focal length in centimeters. We need to take this is 100, this is 100, this is 100, right? So if you take 100 here, 100 here, 100 here, left side and right side, 100 will be cancelled. So that's the reason. So now, so this is how I can write 1 by 5 if I take on, it is 1 minus 1 by 2 and 1 by f is equal to 1 by 5 into 1 by 2, and what I can write here, it's 1 by 10, and the final answer, an important answer we are going to get here. So effective focal length will be equal to 10 centimeters. So we had considered the second focal length as a negative sign. Okay, so that means we have applied the sign convention. Our answer also will be according to the sign convention. So your focal length, so that means the net combination focal length we have got it in positive. That means the complete system is behaving as a positive focal length, nothing but a convex lens. When two lengths have combined, the effective system also behaves as a lens, right? In this case, this is the system is behaving as a positive focal length, that means a convex lens. Now, lens with one silvered surface. We have combined two lenses. What was the formula we have got to find the effective focal length? 1 by f is equal to 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2. If 3 lengths is there, it is 1 by f3. It goes on like that. So there was a derivation for that we have not discussed. It's not required. In the same way, when there is a lens which is silvered one surface, it will be also having a net focal length. So that formula also we are going to learn and discuss now. And let's see. It's a very important and interesting phenomenon in this chapter. Lens with one silvered surface. I'm just taking an example here. So there is a convex lens here I had considered. It's a convex lens. Optics analysis. I've just kept an object here. So there is an object. From this object, there is a light ray incident here. You can carefully go through the situation. There is a light ray incident here. This is what the point where I will be drawing the normal line, because refraction phenomenon takes place for this surface. The normal line I have drawn somewhere passing through the center of curvature. A light is moving from rarer medium to denser medium, it will be bending towards the normal. So it is bent towards the normal here, you can check. And it is the point of incidence. Here again I should draw the normal, because one refraction is taken place. I am just writing here. So one refraction, say first refraction. Here, what I am doing here, this is what one silvered surface. This is the surface is silver. So that means there won't be any refraction takes place now. From this surface there will be only reflection. This is the point of incidence, and at this point of incidence also you can draw the normal line somewhere center of curvature for this surface. Here, according to the laws of reflection, angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. So the light ray will be reflected in this way. Here what happens? Reflection, right? So I am writing here the first reflection took place. Now the light ray is incident here. Light ray now is moving from denser medium to rarer medium. It will be bending away from the normal. So where is the normal? So you can consider, so this is what a normal line, and it will be bending away from the normal. Away from the normal means like this, you can see here. And this is the point where the final image is formed due to this combination. And this image is a real image or virtual image. This is the image is a real image, because you can understand the situation here. This is the first light ray and the first final refracted light ray. And to get the image form, the minimum number of light rays required is 2. The second ray is moving in this direction like this, refracted, and incident at an angle of incidence 0, traces the same path, and see here the final refracted light ray is here. So two reflected or two refracted rays are meeting this point actually. Then there is a real image formation takes place, right? So when the real image formation took place, and before write it's okay. So the real image formation took place here, and there is a third refraction, second refraction took place here. First reflection, and second refraction took place here. Now, interesting things we are going to discuss. What is it actually? What is it? This is the combination of one lens and one mirror. What is that mirror? That is the mirror called concave mirror. The same diagram, and just a drawing here, the same diagram. So this is a convex lens having radius of curvature R1 and R2, and there is a mirror having a radius of curvature R. Alright, so if you consider it is a bi or equiconvex lens, and this is R and this also will be R. Now, from here there are from this lens two refractions are taking place. The first refraction and second refraction, and from this one reflection. So in the system, how many refractions are taking place? So I am writing here, in the system there are two refractions and one reflection took place. And whatever may be the system of lens with one silvered surface, because later we will be discussing a concept called plano convex lens where it is also silvered. You can see here plano convex lens where one surface is silvered, third surface is silvered, right? In this situation also the same thing goes, two refractions, one reflection. That's what we will discuss later. So what I am going to tell you is, whatever may be the system where lens with one silvered surface is there, so that system will behave as a mirror. The final system behaves as mirror. I am writing the same here. Any lens with silvered surface will behave finally as a mirror, right? So that may be concave or convex, depends on the image formation, right? Now we are going to find an expression for this. Why? What is the requirement of finding the expression for it? That is important. So there is an object distance here, u. There is an image distance here, v. Focal length of the system. System is equal to a mirror now, right? Imagine that is a concave mirror. Imagine that's a concave mirror. So it's not like imagine in this case. So this is the system is behaving as a concave mirror only, because we got the real image formation. So which mirror can form the real image? Only concave mirror. In this case, the system is behaving as a concave mirror. Whose focal length? How we will be finding out? Because in a numerical, when the question is like, by giving u value, by giving your v value, if they ask you to find the focal length of the system, focal length of this convex lens which is silvered of one surface, how you will be finding it? So there is a formula for that, right? So what is the formula to find the focal length of the system? 1 by focal length of the system, which is equal to 1 by focal length of the lens plus 1 by focal length of the lens plus 1 by focal length of the mirror. Right? It looks interesting. Why I have written 1 by FL plus 1 by FL? Because this 1 by FL is representing the first refraction. This 1 by FL representing the second refraction. So this 1 by FM is reflection from the mirror. Refraction through lens, refraction through the lens because lens is same. And reflection through from the mirror. So that is what? The importance of this. So the final equation what I can write, 1 by effective focal length of the system, which is equal to 2 by FL plus 1 by FM. Okay, now one by one we will discuss. So what is this 2 by FL? 2 is a constant, keep it aside. 1 by focal length of the lens. You know how to find the 1 by focal length of the lens, right? So 1 by focal length of the lens you can find out by using the concept called lens maker's formula, where mu is relative refractive index, mu minus 1 into 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2, and this is what the lens maker's formula you can use and find out this value. And 1 by Fm, what is the focal length of a mirror? So concave or convex, whatever it may be, focal length of the mirror is equal to the radius of curvature by 2. If they give the radius of curvature value, you can find this. If they give the value of R1, R2 and mu, you can find this. And you substitute here. You will get effective focal length. That effective focal length, you can substitute here, you will get it. So where you will be substituting? So you can substitute here. Why can't you substitute? 1 by F is equal to 1 by V plus 1 by U. So what is this? It's a mirror formula. Why I am applying a mirror formula? Because the system is behaving as a mirror finally. This is focal length of the final mirror system. 1 by V, final image. 1 by U, object. You must apply the sign conventions here, right? Then only you will get exactly same. How we have applied the sign convention for the questions based on mirror formula, the same way you have to do it. Now, one important thing in case of applying focal length of the mirror. Focal length of the mirror, we have to take only the magnitude. Right? So you must not take any kind of sign in case of focal length of the mirror. Right? So why? So that is another story. You just remember like this so that your solving concepts will be very, very easy and numericals also easily you can solve. So remember only one thing. Focal length of the mirror, while taking, you take only the magnitude. Do not consider any kind of sign convention. Okay, fine. So now let's find out an expression for this. For what is this? Focal length. Focal length. Let the focal length of the system, an expression we are going to find. So here radius of curvature is R and refractive index is mu. Okay. Let's start. 1 by focal length, which is equal to 2 by focal length of the lens plus 1 by focal length of the mirror. So here, from here we are going to find what is our aim? F value, which is net focal length of the system. So that system is behaving as a mirror. Which mirror? Concave mirror. So let's start. 2 by FL. 1 by FL you can easily find out. 1 by FL is equal to, what is the mu? So mu is given, it's mu minus 1 into 1 by R1. So So what is R1 here? You can see it is your R1. So R1 according to the sign convention it is positive only, right? So I had told you only this, take it as magnitude. So here according to the sign conventions you have to use. So here up as usual sign conventions. Here only in this case magnitude. Now so 1 by R1 is R minus 1 by R2. R2 is also R, but it is left side of the optic center, so it will be negative. So that is why it is R. So 1 by Fn is equal to mu minus 1 into 2 by R. Right? So this is 1 by Fl. So keep it as equation 2. So our equation 1. Imagine this is equation 1. Now, focal length of the mirror. We know the focal length of the mirror is R by 2. Where is the mirror? So here is the concave mirror whose radius of curvature is R given, and the focal length will be R by 2. I have not applied, I have not taken any sign convention. Okay, so this is equation number 3. Equation 2 and 3, you just substitute it 1. From equation 2 and equation 3, what happens here? 1 by F, which is equal to 2 into 1 by Fl. So 1 by Fl formula is what? Mu minus 1 divided by R into 2 here, right? So 1 by Fl is equal to mu minus 1 into 2 by R. See, mu minus 1 into 2 by R, it is 2 here. So because in our formula 2 is there, so plus 1 by Fm. Your Fm is R by 2, right? 1 by Fm will be 2 by R. So what I can write? 1 by F is equal to, so 2 by R you can take common from both the terms. This is one term and this is another term. 2 by R I have taken common. So here you get mu minus 1 into 2 plus 1, right? Again you can check it. 2 by R only I have taken common. From the first term, this is the first term, this is the second term. From the first term, 2 by R is taken common, you have 2 into mu minus 1, see 2 into mu minus 1. So this 2 by R is taken common, it is 1 here. So 1 by capital F is equal to 2 by R into, so 2 mu minus 2 plus 1. So I can write it as 2 by R into, it's 2 mu minus 1. So 2 mu minus 1. So you will get it as the focal length of the effective focal length of the system, called effective focal length of a concave mirror. That's a complete system which is equal to, so you have got 1 by F is equal to 2 into 2 mu minus 1 by R. So F is equal to R by 2 into 2 mu, it's 4 mu minus 2 into 1, it's 2. So effective focal length we have got it as R by 4 mu minus 2. Whenever this kind of numerical is asked, you can directly remember the formula or you can derive like this, right? When you have lot of practice, it will not take much time for you to derive like this. One more example, one more application, let's see on the concept of lens silvered with one surface. Most of the students feel this concept as a difficult part in this chapter. The easiest method we are discussing here. So one more application if we see, you will understand it far better. A plano convex lens, convex surface is silver. After that, some numericals also will solve on this. A plano convex lens, convex surface is silver. Let me take, this is plano convex. Convex surface is silver. Sometimes the plane surface also can be given as silver. Number one, you have to remember, this is a system will behave as a lens or mirror. A lens or mirror. This is the system behaves as a mirror only. If this is the mirror forming a real image, you can consider this as a concave mirror. If this system is finally forming a virtual image, you can consider it as a convex mirror. Let us check first. How simple it is. There is an object which is placed here. A light ray is incident on it. This is what the normal line I have drawn. A light ray is moving from rarer to denser. It bends towards the normal. At this point, again I have to draw the normal line here. So the light ray is moving according to the laws of reflection. Angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. You can see here. And this is the point. Again the normal line I am drawing. Light is moving from denser to rarer. It will be bending away from the normal. And see, the image is formed here. So this image is the real image. Again I am telling you, how can you confirm that image is a real image? Because it is the final refracted. No, it is reflected or whatever may be, it's a final ray. Now, here, one light ray is incident. The second light ray is incident here. It retraces the path. So that means, this light ray and this light ray are actually meeting at each other. Means real image will be formed. So it is a concave mirror. So I am writing here. So this is the system is behaving as a concave mirror and finding the final focal length of the system. So you can say that effective focal length of the system is important. So what is the formula behind effective focal length? 1 by effective focal length is equal to 1 by focal length of the mirror plus 2 by focal length of the lens. So this is the basic formula, right? To find the effective focal length of this combination. In this focal length of the mirror, we know focal length of the mirror is half of the radius of curvature. Imagine the radius of curvature is r. So focal length of the mirror is half of the radius of curvature. So this is equation 2 and this is the basic equation 1. And the focal length of the lens, 1 by focal length of the lens is equal to a mu minus 1 into, so 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. So this, how I can write 1 by focal length of the lens is equal to mu minus 1 into 1 by r1. What is the first refracting surface? So this is the first refracting surface, right? Whose radius of curve is a plane surface. It is not curved. Whose refractivity? So whose r value's radius of curvature is infinite here. So I can write it is 1 by infinity. R1 is 1 by infinity minus 1 by R2. So this is the second refractive surface. This is the radius of curvature. It's a negative sign, right? Minus of minus plus R. So 1 by your FL is equal to mu minus 1 divided by R. So it is equation 3. So equation 3 and 2 you can substitute in 1 here. So I am writing here from equation 2 and 3. So what I can write, 1 by F is equal to here. 1 by F is equal to 1 by Fm. Your Fm is R by 2. 1 by Fm will be 2 by R plus 2 into 1 by FL. 1 by FL is mu minus 1 by R. So here, so what you can write, your 1 by net focal length is equal to 2 by R. If I take common, here 1 plus here 2 by R I have taken common, 1 is remain plus 2 by R I have already taken common and it is mu minus 1. Plus 1 minus 1 cancel here. So 1 by net focal length will be equal to 2 mu by R. So net focal length will be equal to R by 2 mu. So this is how the numericals can be solved, right? Sometimes you can use directly the formula also when the combination is like this, right? So, but there will be so many combinations are possible, right? So in each and every case, So remembering the formula, it's not the solution. It will not give you a permanent solution, right? Try to understand the concept here. Now, focal length of a plano-convex lens. Just now, plano-convex lens we had discussed here is 20 centimeters. Focal length is 20 centimeters given. Refractive index is mentioned. Plane face of it is silver. So this is interesting. Here, same plano-convex lens, curved surface is silver, but here plane surface is silver. See the interesting thing. This is a plano-convex lens. You can say it's a principal axis, and here the plane surface is silver. Okay. Now, there is an object here. I am just checking whether this will behave as a concave mirror or convex mirror. A light ray is incident here. This is what the normal line will pass through the center of curvature here. Light is bent towards the normal. Light is bent towards the normal. According to the laws of reflection, it will bend here. So the light, again normal line, and here what happens? So normal line is here. When light is moving from denser medium to rarer medium, it will be bending away from the normal. See here, the image is formed here. So this is the setup. This is the complete system is behaving as what? Concave mirror or convex mirror? So this is behaving as a concave mirror. So that is what they are not asking about this, but for your better understanding, for the future purpose, I am just telling you. So this is the system behaving as a concave mirror. Now, an illuminating object is placed at a distance of 60 centimeters from the lens. See, there is an object U is 60 centimeters is placed. Then the distance of the image is. So this is the image distance we need to find. So what are the values you have? You have focal length 20 centimeters. You have object distance 60 centimeters. So you need to find the image distance. Okay. And can I use directly mirror formula because complete setup is behaving as a mirror. I can directly use the mirror formula here. So let me use a mirror formula. 1 by F is equal to 1 by V plus 1 by U. So focal length of a concave mirror, it's negative. And object distance, negative, right? So applying the same. 1 by minus 20 is equal to 1 by V minus 1 by 60. So here I can write 1 by V is equal to 1 by 6. 1 by minus 60 goes to other side. It will become 1 by plus 60. And 1 by minus 20 is as it is. So here 1 by V is equal to 1 by 20 if I take common, and you get it as 1 by 3 minus 1. Alright? So here 1 by V is equal to 1 by 20 into, it's 1 minus 3, so minus 2 by 3 here, so 2 tenths. So here finally V is equal to minus 30 centimeters. Okay, see, so V is minus 30. Minus 30 indicates what? So the image is forming just in front of the complete system. See here. And image distance is less than the object distance according to the ray diagram we have drawn.